Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to our Saturday episode. No, it's really Sunday. Sunday episode of our stock market insights. We're going to review your favorite stocks in the Philippine market. And we have already invited our friends over at our Instagrams page. And let's give them a few minutes to join. In the meantime, we'll set up our tools. There you have it. If you have requests, go ahead and drop a comment so I can prioritize your request. Let's also invite our friends in our Facebook page. We are Invest in the Stock Market in Facebook. Okay, so let's start. Let me go ahead and just quickly check our index here. Okay, so if you have watched my video last April too, you will know that I said the index is going to slow down and might experience some decline. And right on the last day of the trading week, we had a red here, which is again a confirmation that we are showing some weakness there, and this stock or the stocks in the index are quite struggling at the moment. Most of them are declining or just doing sideways. Okay, but then again, we are going to have a deep dive on each one after this. But if you have a request, I'll prioritize definitely your request. Okay, let's check all stocks. Okay, let's start with BDO. Okay, BDO, as you can see, the pattern is so clear, showing a decline, as well as your volume here. Slowly it is declining. Okay guys, so that means we have to wait for it again right over here and find out what is going to happen. So at least you have some markings over here. When the price reaches 87.97 and just create some stabilization right there, that means there's a big chance that we will just bounce in that area. But if it breaks, it's also possible because you already have like high here and lower high here. Then this is your low, then you might have a much lower low. Okay, so you have to first check this area because sometimes it just bounces in that level where you have the support area. Ali is also, this is also a sign of weakness, I would have to say, because this is the MA20 line, and an MA20 line can act as your resistance when we're moving below that level. As you can see right here, as we go nearer that line, there's some rejection or weakness that's happening. Same is true with here. We're slightly above it because a support, a resistance is an area. It could be slightly higher or slightly lower. So those are your indicators. When you see that happening, for instance, you see signs of weakness right over here, then that means it might potentially go down. Sometimes, okay, it can also break that, like what happened here. It broke that line, but because this one is already congested, or constricted, I mean, the increase right after the MA20 line is so minimal. So, but my take on this is it is most likely going to decline as well because of your low volume right here. ICT is also giving us weakness here, and I want us to take a look at this level. There, it might reach 66, and once you reach that level, let's find out if we have some stabilization before it goes up. Okay, the reason why I said that we should look forward to this level first because your RSI is already showing some upward movement. Let's take a look at pure gold. Pure gold, okay. Pure gold is, I think, trying to challenge your resistance right here. So currently you are at the resistance level. But look at your volume. Volume is building up, especially on this day. So if we start, let's say tomorrow, more than 38.7, or it breaks the upper band over here, so that means we might have some more rally to the upside, as this volume is a significant volume for pure gold. Okay, this is just me, but my inference is that because other establishments are closed, and in the period of the lockdown, pure gold is still open because we need to buy groceries, right? So business is still ongoing for them, and the demand is actually really high, because instead of people spending their money to something else, they'd rather spend it to the necessities, which is of course food. And I think for me, that's my inference of why pure gold is still moving to the upside. AC. Okay, so this is still weakness right here. So let's find out if... Okay, we're back. Sorry about the interruption there. JFC is trying to move within this range. Okay, let's make a Darvas box. Okay, what is that? There. It is moving within this range. Okay, so it's doing some sideways movement here. So if you want to be very conservative, but I would have to say Jollibee is already at a good level to start considering, because this is really this has been badly hit by even before even before the lockdown. They already have been on a decline, but it got even worse because of the situation. Okay, so try to check if you want to get in. I'd say just be conservative at the moment. Just 91 level would be a good area to consider. and I think it might revisit that, or halfway. If you want to start accumulating volume, then go ahead and do it. After all, these crisis, or all this of this after this crisis, Jollibee would be definitely back to normal, and this is a strong company. MBT, okay, let's catch it right here. I think it will just challenge the same area, 35.21. When it reaches that level, try to look at your RSI. See if you still have the same pattern like this. Okay, moving up. So you want to see it doing sideways first here before going up. 29 for SMPH. SMPH is, that's a sign of weakness. It might drop again, so be extra careful. Volume is so low. While the price is moving up, the volume is also declining. That means it's not showing, I mean, the market is not that interested anymore in buying this level because it is expensive as per market sentiment. URC. URC, oh, there's a dividend. May 27, oh, but it's done. $150. March, April, May, June. Are they consistent at giving? No. Anyway, I feel that this stock will give us a chance at 95. This is just a temporary bounce that I see here. Look at this. Price is moving upward, but volume is down. Same here, trying to break this level. So I think it will still give us a chance at 95. When it reaches that level, also check this one if we're still within the 30 level for our RSI. But just conservatively speaking, 95 would be a good area to try out. I think in the coming days, wow, look at that, 3.19, but it's not far from 95, so I'm thinking could be this or could be here, 97. So it's an area, guys. Just haggle for a little, and most likely I feel that this will already start to bounce. What about SM? SM, look at that. We're slightly above it. We're slightly above our MA20 line, but look at your volume. So I would have to say maybe we wait for another green engulfing candlestick on Monday to really confirm if it is really going to break that resistance in this level. Because it's possible that this is just an overshoot, right? Slight overshoot to the upside and then break it again. So we're not 100% sure. I want us to wait for another green before we really confirm, right? So I'd say it has to break this level, has to break your 845 level, because there was a resistance formed in this area, also validated by this candlestick. So maybe another green that's slightly higher than 845 would be great. But if it doesn't break that, there's a big chance that it will collapse again and then move downwards. BPI. BPI is, as you can see, very obvious line over there. MA20 is your resistance and it's struggling to break that. Volume is also declining, so that means it is really showing signs of weakness. And next area to watch out for, it would be 51.55. MPI. MPI trying to stabilize within this range, and I think it will still revisit 2.33, which again is for long-term investors here. That is your chance to accumulate and buy some more. And let's find out, okay, if it will stop at that level. Okay, so I have a feeling as soon as, let's say, this lockdown is going to be lifted, the day after that, most of the stocks will probably jump, gap up. But I don't know. There was a, let's try to search that. Oh, quarantine, and let's see if you have any idea on whether this is finally going to end on the week of April 12th. Share it. But yesterday, I think I read somewhere that it might be extended. Someone from the Department of Health also mentioned that it might potentially be extended. Okay, so going back to MPI, it will most likely revisit 2.34 here. Okay, so don't get in yet. You can get this at a much lower price. This is a clear sign of weakness. It did not break your MA20 line, which is your resistance, so the next course of action it's going to go down. So let's see if it will stop at this level. Worse is it might even go lower than that, because we have a lower high. You had here high. When it bounced, it was a temporary bounce, and it's much lower. So that means when it goes down, there's a big chance that it might break this 1.87. But in some occasions, it just stops at the possible support area and bounce. Okay, so what we want to see is also having the same pattern here. Like when it reaches 1.87, it has to be slightly higher than the previous point, which is your 1.87 right here. Okay, Bloom, that's a doji. This is a doji, and when a doji appears, let's say at the resistance area, it's most likely going to decline. So that's a sign of weakness as well. It might drop again, and let us see if it will go back to 4.31. Okay, just mouse is not cooperating there. 4.27. Okay, so be extra careful. Hold on to your buying power. And if you are really interested in Bloom, this is not the right time yet. It will most likely revisit a much lower price. SECB. SECB doing sideways over here. I don't know. Maybe that's a good sign. So when a price goes down, it normally goes sideways before it jumps up. So I'd have to say, yes, this is the pattern, doing sideways. And let's take a look at 101.50. So if you find this already cheap, I feel that you can get this much lower at around 101.50. Okay, so far your RSI is already giving us some good signs. Moving up, take a look at that. My line is so crooked. Because look, it's moving to the upside. It's building momentum while we are just moving within this range. So that's a good sign. I don't think we can be much lower than this. If, I cannot speak very concretely that it will not. But what we want to see here is that we want to observe what happens around 100, 150. Okay, so that's our key indicator. After SECB, GTCAP. GTCAP also doing the same. It's moving sideways, and 381 would be our next bet for our support. And let's see if your RSI is already giving us good signs. Yes, we are already at the oversold level. And let's take a look from the time we had our lockdown. How many percent was the decline? When was that? Here. Okay, 23.95%. This one, okay, this is already starting to move above the MA20 line. So if we continue to move within this part of our Bollinger Band, that means it's building its momentum now, and most likely it will go up. Okay, for as long as we continue moving above it, and it triggers most of the time trigger the upper band, then the next course of action would be potentially going up. So I'd have to say 150. You're very near that line. 150 is already a good area to try out. Okay, the reason why I said that is, you see this? This is a stabilization that you have here. And this used to be ISM. For those people who are aware of this company, or not aware of this company, ISM and Dito, they're just one. This is the third telco, and let's see. Right now, it's just moving around this number because we don't see any. They're not fully operational yet. I think they're in the building phase and development phase of the product. So let's see if it goes live. I'm sure the value is not just 1.58. Let's take a look at RLC. RLC here. Okay, so I'd say it might dip as well, but not that far. 11.74 is the next area to monitor. Interesting, people are already showing signs of interest here. Foreign buying is already present. So just haggle a little bit. Might reach 11.74. Meralco is already giving us good signs here. I think you have to already check out Meralco. So this used to be a resistance, and it broke that resistance. It might create a brand new support at a 232 level. So that's an area to check out. It has been on a heavy decline and starting to show some recovery. So this is already good. This is a good, but good job for those people who managed to catch it really at the deepest point, which was around 18%. But either way, if you look at Meralco, treat it as really for long-term investing. Hi Marco. How was your weekend? Tomorrow is trading day again. Globe here also making some recovery, but you're very near your resistance. There is a resistance right here. Let's check that here. So that's a resistance that we see. The reason why I said that is because check out this point, also here and here. Okay, so we might see some struggles in this level, but as soon as it breaks that, then that's going to be a good story because your previous resistance will now become your support. So observe first. I would have to say let's wait for it to break our resistance, because if you would like to enter here, then your risk to reward ratio is already a bit not ideal. Very small reward ratio. Okay, so two conditions: it has to break this line first before you can enter that, or you wait for it to retrace and maybe check out this level there, 1888. There, 1878. Okay, that's a better line. MWC. This is the support that I have here, 841, and there's really no volume. We are to check out no volume, so I think it will not sustain. It will not break this level. It might just go back to 852 again. JGS. Okay, JGS, check this out. That's 2 consecutive days of red. 2 consecutive days of red. That means that's a sign of weakness, and the most possible thing that will happen next is it will decline and will revisit this range, that or slightly higher than that, 42 to 43. So observe. So if you're interested in this, don't buy yet, because you can get this at a much lower price and monitor the 42 level. See if you can already enter in that area. TEL is 2 consecutive days as well, giving signs of weakness. But the annual earnings is good. It's just that the market sentiment really is not cooperating given the situation right now. So it might retrace and go back in this range, 1046, 1045. The reason why we said that is this resistance, previous support over here. Okay, created a support as well here, so it might just revisit and then bounce again. Okay, that's the first possible bounce. But if you want to be very accurate, let's take a look at this. Use Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so I will plot it here. I did not use the wick, so I will not also use the wick here. Okay, so just within the range. So this is the line we created. Okay, so first area to break would be, I'll remove this drawing. First area to break, this 1088. Second area to break is the 0.382 level, which is 1044.45, which is very close to the line we created. So if it breaks that again, then here, the 0.5 level. But my take is when it breaks at 0.5, I think it will really decline somewhere. Okay, because 0.5 would be very near your MA20 line, so that's a good one. The next would be SCC. SCC moving up, but very, very minimal movements. So I think this is not going to sustain. So I'm sorry, I have to deliver that. We're very near your MA20 line. Your volume is declining. but your RSI is also following the upward momentum here. But let us see if it breaks that, then go ahead. But my overall take here is that it might revisit this first. It might revisit this line first and then this line. Okay, next would be 860, around that. Okay, so at least you have two areas to check out. So reason why I said it's 1042, because look at that, moving within this range sideways, slightly bounced, but I don't think this candlestick is going to move upward some more. RRHI looks like it has already created a brand new support in this range. That one, 54.90. That's a brand new support because it has crossed the MA20 line, and so far this is just right. The volume is just right. People are buying it, and most likely the next moves would be to the upside. Hi Lester. Next would be Home. Home is also giving us sideways here, but it will, yeah, it will still go down. 4.45 would be the area to check out. What about AP? AP also broke your MA20 line here. So that means if it dips, it will first stabilize and challenge your MA20 line, which is 25.90. Okay, or 26, slightly higher. Okay, around that range, 25, 26. But let's see, what was the volume? Okay, so this was green, but there's really no volume, so I feel that it might revisit, go back. So yeah, use your buying power to buy it at a much lower price. MAC, yeah, you're already right at that area. Okay. They're giving out dividends. And you're already at the oversold level. So that's a good story. So maybe you can start considering this if you know the background of this company. DMC. DMC is also giving us a lift in the price. I think the most that it can take right now is to close this gap. There was a gap down that happened here. It's starting to fill that. Not yet. It might fill that, but we don't really know yet. Once it reaches this level, are we going to have a breakout play or it will not sustain? But you're very near that line, so I would have to say risk to reward ratio not ideal. But if you're a long-term investor here, I think slightly lower than that, maybe try to haggle 3.31. So best entry price would be 3.31 here if it dips, and right now the short-term target, you can set it at 4.31 as your target profit area. Okay, PNB still on a decline, and I'd have to say this will stick to this. I'm not sure, maybe, yeah, Lester, I think this was your question previously around PNB. We have to observe 18.50. We're still at the oversold level, and if we continue to show this kind of pattern, once it reaches our area of focus, which is wait, hold on. So it's still showing up. Once it reaches around 1850 and we still have the same look right here, would have to say that could be a good area to consider. Now, your condition is wait for a green candlestick to come out within this range first, because it might continue to break that, so not good. AEV. AEV has broken your MA20 line, so that means you now have a brand new support around 37.8, 37.38. Okay, around that line, that's a good area to check out, and we're not that far from that support. Okay, SGP. Oh, I wonder why. What happened here? Do we have any news around this? What's the news here? Backdoor listing. Then a sudden spike in volume. Maybe you can check this out, guys, because there's a sudden spike in volume triggering the upper Bollinger Band. That means we might have some more movements to the upside. Okay? What's this? There's a disclosure 3 days ago. Backdoor listing. Mr. Henry C., who is the chairman of board SGP and who holds 44.5% of the outstanding capital stock of SGP, is also director and controlling shareholder of One Taipan. Hence, Mr. C has substantial interest in both SGP and One Taipan. Accordingly, he abstained in the voting on the proposed share swap. So guys, take a look at the disclosure. This looks interesting. So probably that could be the reason why. Okay, so if you want to get in, maybe, some people will take profit, so definitely we can still haggle it at a much lower price. Just slightly lower is fine, because this is already your support, 168. And then maybe you can enter around 182. That would be already a good entry price. AGI. AGI is very near your resistance. We can plot it at that 7.67 area. It might just, no, let's plot it here because it will most likely fill the gap for 7.96 to 8 pesos area. And let's see if it will continue to move up. But in the meantime, I want to plot it at this conservative range. 7.96 is the next profit taking area. For those people who may already have entered right here, you can probably start locking in some profit when we reach this range. Okay. Tech is just stabilizing, probably around 6 pesos area. 608. I have it at 608. 6 pesos. There you go. It's just trying to stabilize first. I don't know if it will break that downwards or it will bounce. Okay, but 6 pesos area is our key area to monitor if you want to get in. LTG. LTG is showing signs of weakness. That's a sign of weakness, guys. Here. Okay, so most likely it will dip some more. Your RSI, your Bollinger Band is pointing downwards here. So first area to check would be this range, 6.93. I don't know. Let's try to use our Fibonacci retracement from this point. Okay, so these are the key areas, guys. Alright, first area would be your 0.236, which was already broken. Next area to check out would be your 7.23, which is just right at the MA20 line. Okay, at least you are already aware of these key points: 7.64, 7.23, 6.19. Okay, if it breaks the 6.57, that's the lowest you can get. If it breaks that, it will most likely change the direction fully, and more declines will happen. But at least you have so many lines first to test out as an area of bounce. SMC. SMC, this is somewhat of a doji. Okay, guys. I think that's also a sign of weakness right there. And next course of action. So if you already are on a profitable stage here, lock in some profit, because next possible movement would be it will decline. Okay, or shall I say retrace. And you can use the Fibonacci, or you can just plot the next support right here, 72.53. It might go back and challenge that line again. SHLPH, still very, considerably moving on sideways. I'd plot it at 17.70. You can, I think, still haggle here. Okay, 17.70. PCOR is 2.59. You reached a resistance. That's a slight overshoot at the resistance. Sign of weakness. So prepare, it might go back to your 2.03 or 2.04 level. Okay. Wow. 2.04. Cebu Pacific. My goodness. It even broke this line. Okay. That's also a resistance level. You are sitting at the resistance level for Cebu Pacific. 36.38 would be, or 36.70 would be our support, and it might revisit that, right? Be extra careful. But if you're already gaining, lock in some gains. ACEPH, AC Energy. Let's use our MA20 line as our support, guys. Yeah, and 1.80. It might go back there. FGEN. Okay, FGEN might also revisit this range. Okay, 16. Just use your MA20 line as our support, because we are already moving above that line, and gives us, this one is giving us this possibility that it will visit this 15.94 level. Okay, all right. So looks like we have already reviewed a lot today. I suggest, if you really want to enhance your skill, what you can do is, after the market closes tomorrow, go back to this video and cross-reference whether our insights are correct, because that's also a best practice that I do. I review my work, because I do live sessions, of course, also to study. I use this as my journal, and I cross-reference my insights whether they're correct or not. Okay, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please hit that subscribe button so you're always updated. In the meantime, you have a great weekend. Happy Sunday, everyone. Bye bye.